Okay, this is a demonstration video that'll show you how to use various ceramics tools. There are some that will use more than others, and then there are some that I will show you that will be offered to you that you won't necessarily use. Okay, and I'll let you know when I get to the tools that we will not use regularly. So right here in front of me I have different ceramic pieces or clay pieces. Okay, I have a mug. This is all hand built, and it has different glazes on here. In another video I'll show you how to glaze your artwork. Right here I have a pinch pot, and I'll show you how to make a pinch pot in another video. Kind of dirty. And then this last piece right here, I have a slab built, or a piece that is a relief sculpture, and I'll show you how to roll out a slab in another video. Okay, the shiny side, the color side, is the glazed side. This side right here that's blank is just the regular clay once it's been fired. When you're working with clay, it's kind of important that you have short nails, like you trimmed your nails. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see how, or focus, sorry, on my nails, if it wants to. There we go. So you want to have short nails like me. If you have long nails or you gotten your nails done, you'll probably end up getting clay underneath them, and you don't want to do that. Okay, another thing is when you're working with clay, it'd probably be a good idea to take things off your hands if you're wearing rings, or if you have like a nice bracelet, so you don't get clay on it. So I'm going to take my ring off, and I'm going to take my watch off because I don't want those to get dirty. Okay. So first off, I have a little piece of clay right here. Okay, this is clay in its wet form, and this is what it'll look like when I give it to you. Okay, it's very soft and malleable. Once the clay goes in the kiln and gets fired or heated, it turns into this white ceramic piece, like this right here. Okay, and it's hard and not malleable. It kind of turns into a rock. So when you work with clay, you'll work with wet clay, not hard clay. Okay. Okay, so the first tool I'm going to show you is the needle tool. A needle tool is really important for joining pieces of clay and for carving. I'm just going to make this into a little flat pancake. So you'll probably use a needle tool to carve things, like I could carve my initials, and you'll use it to scratch when you're joining pieces of clay. Okay, you could also use a fork, which will do the exact same thing as a needle tool. It's really easy to use. You're kind of just holding it like a pencil. Okay, the next tool that you'll probably use a lot is a modeling tool. And a modeling tool is used to like shape the clay, smooth areas out. You can even carve with it sometimes. Again, I'm making this into a pancake. So let me grab several different styles of modeling tools. There's different shapes for different things. Get one more. Nope, that's it. Okay, so there's this one that has these very round knobs on the end. This might be good for something like keeping the sides of something smooth. Like maybe I could have used this in here to smooth out this insides of this piece. We'll see what it looks like whenever we mess with this. I'm going to just get this kind of gross looking actually. I'll just use this and smooth it out. Okay, this one's got a pointed edge, so you could maybe carve with the tip of this. It's also got a curved end right here. And again, you could just smooth stuff out with this. And it's kind of like holding it like a pencil. It kind of reminds me of a butter knife because you're kind of spreading the clay around. Okay, and I'll just show you one more and then we'll move on to the next tool. Okay, now this one's sort of got like indentions like a fork. So this one might be good to press into to get different textures. Let me make a flat side. Yeah, that makes a really nice marks if you want something like that. And it's also got a pointed, curved end, so. Okay, now this was a modeling tool. Okay, the next tool that you'll probably be using a lot is a loop tool. Now I've got 4 different types of loop tools. They all do the same thing. Now it's called a loop tool because the metal part on the end is in the shape of a loop, like a little lasso. It's a loop. You can use this to carve out big chunks of clay. And that's why they're in different sizes, because it depends on what you want to carve out. So maybe if you have a big chunk that you want to carve out, you use this end. Maybe you have like a little tiny bit, you would use something small like this. So I'm just going to carve out just a little bit of clay just so you can see what it's like. And I'm just going to just use holding it like a pencil, and then I'm just tearing a chunk off. Okay? I'm going to try the little one to see so you can see the difference. So this was with the bigger one, that was the little one. Okay, choose your size of loop depending on what you want to carve out. Okay. Okay, and the last tool that you will probably be using a lot is the rubber rib. This is the rubber rib. Okay. The reason why it's called a rubber rib is because this is made out of rubber. They also make wooden ribs. They make metal ones. I just have rubber ribs because they're more flexible and they're easier to use. So you use a rubber rib to smooth things out. Okay. Sometimes your hand will absorb the moisture of the clay, and it'll leave all these little marks from your fingers, like all your fingerprints. Let me get this closer so you can see. Yeah, so you can see all those fingerprints that I've left in here. Your rubber rib will be good to like smooth those out if you don't want that texture. And also, like, it'll help you fill the cracks that might have formed when you were pushing the clay around. This is a good tool to use for smoothing things out, even more so than a modeling tool. Oop, let me focus that. Sorry. I'll do it on this side. So it's good for smoothing things out. Now these were the tools I just showed you were ones that you'll probably use a lot. So I've showed you the needle tool first. This is one that you would use to carve and use to join things. I showed you different modeling tools. I showed you loop tools. And then lastly, the rubber rib. You will use these all the time. Now I'm going to show you things that you might not use very much, but you will probably end up using if you want a certain thing. So the first thing I'm going to show you is these little cookie cutter cutouts. So I'm going to show you several different ones. Okay, so I've got 3 different ones. These are both regular cookie cutters, and then I have this one that's a little different. So I'm going to do the little different one first. So the way to use this is you'll get a piece of clay, form it into like a little ball or a little log in your hand, and then you're going to push it into this little mold. And you want to fill it all the way. Okay, so if I flip this over, you'll see how much I don't need. So I'm going to just rip that off. Okay. After you have filled it, you're going to press this little lever, and hopefully it'll pop out pretty easily. Mine might not because my clay is kind of wet. Okay, and that's one easy way to form random shapes. I have a lot that are like this leaf teardrop shape. I have some that are circles, and I'm pretty sure I have some that are ovals. Okay. You might use cookie cutters to, I don't know, make pieces that you could attach to your sculpture. Okay, and then I'm going to show you the regular cookie cutter. So I think the easiest way to do this one is to roll out a little bit of piece of clay, or yeah, just roll out some clay, make it into a big pancake. You could also use a rolling pin to roll it out if you really wanted to. I'm going to just do that just to make this faster. And then you're going to press your cookie cutter into it just like you're making sugar cookies or something. Pressing all the way down. And then you're going to press it out of your little mold. Hopefully it's okay. This one's kind of hard to push out. And it's okay. Okay, and you can do this with any shape that I have. You could even make your own cookie cutter if you really wanted to. I'll try it with this one so you can see what that looks like. I would just use the cookie cutters that I have if you really want a specific shape. I think this is a plane. Might be something else. Okay, and this is a cookie cutter mold. Okay, the next tool that I'm going to show you is a different type of mold. I'm going to grab a few that you could use. Got a lot of different ones. Okay, I'm going to roll this clay out so this works easier. Now, the cookie cutter molds, you press clay into them. Okay, this type of mold, you press onto the clay, so it's a little different. So these little molds are made out of silicone, and they've got different patterns or textures on them. And what you do is sort of like a stamp, is you just press it into your clay and it should show right up. Now, I'm not sure what that is. It kind of looks like a tennis shoe. Here's another one. It's got an S on it. This one's a really interesting texture. I've got several different ones. I even have some that look like leaves. Let me find a good one. Do this one. So that looks like a leaf. And the way I would do this one is lay it onto your clay, then grab a rolling pin and roll over it. And then you have your leaf. Now these are different than the cookie cutters because you're pressing into the clay. You're not putting clay into the mold. Okay, and I have one last mold to show you. These ones are pretty cool. Let me just grab one really quick. These ones actually were gifted to me, and I thought you guys would like using them. Okay, now this is kind of like your cookie cutter one, where you have to press clay into it. So these are little acorns. I'm going to press, I guess I'll put this in the big guy. So I formed my clay into a little ball, and now I'm going to just press it into the mold. Could use the rolling pin, roll over it if I really wanted to. Okay, then I'm going to just take one edge and lift it off, and I've got an acorn. Okay, I could do the same thing with this leaf right here if I really wanted to. It looks really good when you're just using one piece of clay. That rolled on my rolling pin. Let's see. This one turned out okay. Okay, so that's the third type of mold. So you have a cookie cutter, you have little ones that you press into clay, and then you have these actual ceramic molds that you could use. Okay, I've got two other things that you could use, and we've already used one. So these are the last two tools I'm going to show you. Okay. So one tool that you can use is a rolling pin. A rolling pin is a good tool to use to roll out clay. So when you're rolling out slabs of clay, or you're just rolling a big pancake out, you can use a rolling pin to make sure it's pretty flat and even across the whole thing. Okay. The last tool that you could use is called a rotary cutter. It looks kind of like a little pizza cutter. This you can use to cut slices of clay. So just cut across like I'm cutting a little pizza. This one's actually kind of fun. Okay, so those are the last two tools I'm going to show you. So the extra tools that you could use are your little cookie cutter molds, your molds that you press into clay, your ceramic molds, and I've got several different ones, a rolling pin, and a little cookie cutter. I really hope you at least experiment with some of these so that your ceramic pieces will look even better. Good luck.